Yep, and I guess the right title would be co-chair of the
Co-chair.
Osceola Arts for Complete
Okay.
Education Coalition. Yeah. Um, and yeah, so well, let me just start by telling you all a little bit about Osceola County. The two major cities in Osceola County are Kissimmee and then the city of St. Cloud, but there is a really large unincorporated area. And in terms of demographics for the county, in some ways we're one of the most diverse counties in the state of Florida. 47%, according to the 2010 census, is or about 47% of the county is non-white, and 34% of that 47 is Hispanic or Latino. So in terms of a Hispanic or Latino population, just by county, we're one of the largest in the state. And so there's all kinds of interesting experiences and challenges and benefits that come with that. But another interesting figure about the county that I think plays into our arts advocacy is that actually 67.35%, but about 67% of students who go to school in the county are on free or reduced lunch, which means that they meet some level of threshold in terms of income that they actually are qualifying for these benefit programs. And so that kind of poverty, that kind of limited access to funds and resources create all kinds of interesting challenges in the school district. And these students end up having to work a lot of the time. School attendance has become a challenge, I think, for a lot of teachers. So we have some interesting challenges. But what's been really fascinating about the work at ACE and the arts education work has been that in this environment when budget cuts are really pervasive and the school district every year has had to look at how to cut corners and cut costs, because of some really strong advocates in the district like Debbie Famey and because of the Osceola ACE Coalition, we've seen actually an expansion of arts programs. And ACE has been around, the Arts for Complete Education Coalition in Osceola has been around for, I think, like 20 years. Debbie, who I think is on the call today, has been a part of it for most of that time. I've just sort of taken on this role in the last year or so, but from talking to Debbie, I mean, this is in some ways kind of a renaissance for arts programming. One of the cornerstone programs that we run in Osceola that I think we've been really innovative about linking to our advocacy is a program called the Arts Alive Showcase, and it's a scholarship showcase where we every year, right around the same time, send out applications to students in high school age students in the district and encourage them to audition to apply for scholarships. And they come in and they'll do classical music, or they'll do vocal, or they'll do theater or musical theater. There's a visual arts component. And so it's an adjudicated thing where we bring in expert judges in all these different categories, and then we highlight the best and brightest young student artists that come out of the district every single year. And obviously this is a really important thing for these students who end up being showcased and sort of get really competitive with one another to get the scholarship. And of course the scholarship money is a big help. But what I think is, in terms of advocacy, the most incredible portion of this program is that we've really linked it to the sort of stakeholders and community leaders that we know we need to be effective advocates in the county. So at the last Arts Alive function, we had almost full representation from the school board. We had the superintendent superintendent there. Susan came and actually spoke with Dr. Mary Palmer. But we get this really strong showing, and we sort of force this moment for principals and administrators and teachers who are in leadership roles in the school district and the school board to come and celebrate these students with us. And it creates, I think, the perfect platform to really put out a message about why these opportunities are so important and the real intrinsic value that they have, not just for these students, but for the district and for the schools that the students go to school in. So I just wanted to highlight that in the last 4 years, in a climate when most school districts were cutting funds and cutting programs and cutting budgets, the Osceola School District has expanded and created 30 new programs. And those programs are things like our strings program. Our music programs were added in every single elementary school but one. All of our high schools, as of this year, now have an auditorium and have a theater and a performance space that can be used not just by the theater students but by all kinds of performance artists. And over the course of our time in Osceola County, the Arts Alike Showcase has given out hundreds of thousands of dollars to these students. And I just think that's really incredible. I think it's incredible that we've been able to do it. In terms of goals for this next year, we had sort of our first brainstorm strategy session about the political climate, the political context, budget cuts, all that stuff. And where we really landed was in two places. One, this year we're going to be in the same place that we have been for the last few years, which is that money is shrinking at the state level, money is shrinking at the local level, that as the recession continues to sort of drag on, our policymakers have less money to do more with, and in that environment it's really easy to start coming after the programs that aren't immediately connected to some of the testing stuff. And so really just a message of we have to hold the line is going to permeate all of the programming that we do and all of the interactions that we have with our policymakers. The second challenge that we have, and I think this is also connected to the recession, is that we have seen almost a complete turnover in leadership at the district level. We had a superintendent last year who was super supportive of the arts, and we have a new superintendent who came in this year who's maybe lukewarm at best would be a good description, and his whole team came in with him. This is sort of the nature of leadership transition, and I think it's related to the recession, and it's something I want to flag for the group because I think that in times like these, nobody likes budget cuts. So the person and the team and the leadership team that gets the heat the most are the persons or teams that have to make those cuts. And so I know in Central Florida alone, Seminole County, Orange County, and Osceola County are all seeing an attrition of superintendent leadership and a rollover and this new move to bring in new leadership. Osceola did it first, Orange County and Seminole County are going to do it next. Mm-hmm. And I think this is something that as advocates we kind of need to watch for, because the dynamic we're experiencing in Osceola right now is that years of relationship building in some ways now has to be started from scratch. Whereas, Debbie, our advocate and arts resource teacher in the county, had spent, literally decades building relationships with people and showing them and pulling them into events to watch these kids perform and see the impact firsthand that they're having. We got to start doing that all over again. And while that same attrition in leadership hasn't happened at every high school in terms of principals, there have been transitions. There have been principals who left as the last superintendent went out, and new people who've been put in place and in this new leadership cycle. So our goal is to, one, keep this message of hold the line prevalent and loud as we get into budget conversations at the district and also at the state level. But I think we also are in this place where we recognize that we really need to start reaching out to these new people and start the process all over again of showing them why this is so important and the impact that it's really having on the kids and how it directly affects the things that they're watching most closely, which is scoring and testing and attendance rates and graduation rates and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll stop there.